Okay, folks, welcome to the May 25th Planning Commission meeting. So we'll get started now. Could you join me in the salute to the flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we'll do a roll call.
Here.
Nathan Herzog,
Here.
Anthony DiMattei,
Here.
Daniel Woodward,
Here.
Mark Watts,
Here.
Richard Johnson,
Here.
Bridget Powers.
Here.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I'd like to welcome everybody to today's Planning Commission meeting. It's open to all virtual and in-person participation and may be observed online through the Placer County website. If you would like to make a public comment today, please fill out a speaker slip, which is located on the table near the entrance and provided to the planning staff for the members of the public attending via Zoom. Please raise your hand with the hand icon on the bottom of the page. If you are calling in, press *9 to raise your hand. Please be prepared to speak at the time I open the public comment for a specific item you would like to address, which may include public comment for matters not included on the agenda, a consent item, or a timed item. Each commenter will be entitled to 3 minutes of comment time. Thank you for your patience as we work to ensure that each citizen who wishes to comment has the opportunity to do so. Please be advised that today's hearing is being recorded. Okay, so we'll have the planning director's report.
Hey, good morning. Chair Johnson, Commissioners, Chris Pahuli, Planning Director. I have a few updates for you. I wanted to start with upcoming items that are headed to the Board of Supervisors and then focus on some Planning Commission items that are upcoming as well and some logistical items. First is the Project 8 Winery. Earlier this week, the board did take action to set a new regular meeting to hear the Project 8 Winery project. That will be heard on June 20th at 9 a.m. I should note that the meeting will be here at the Planning Commission chambers, again, on June 20th at 9 a.m.
Excuse me, Chris.
Yep.
I was told last night by Supervisor Jones that I think the meeting's going to start at 8 o'clock. So can we get that confirmed?
We will get that confirmed. My understanding is it'll be 9 a.m., but we will send out an email to all of you, letting you know what time that meeting will start.
Okay, thank you.
Next item that's going to be coming up to the Board of Supervisors that I'd like to mention is the general plan update. We are going to be in front of the board on June 13th with the scope of work that the Planning Commission heard last month. We're going to be talking to the board about that scope of work and getting their input on the scope of work prior to releasing a request for proposals. We intend to release that request for proposals soon thereafter. So mid-June, we anticipate releasing that RFP. And following roughly a 2-month solicitation process, it's likely that we'll be back to the board maybe in August, late August, with a contract award and looking to kick off the general plan update in earnest in the early fall. Should also note, as it relates to the general plan update, that we have, staff have been making the rounds to the various MACs. We intend to meet with all of the MACs prior to starting the general plan update process with again, a similar presentation as to the one that you heard with the rationale for the update, what the process is going to look like, and how the MACs and the community at large can be involved in the process. So we've been to a couple of MAC meetings so far, and we intend, as I mentioned, to get through all of them within the next couple of months. Also wanted to note that that a zoning text amendment for residential care homes. This is an item that the Planning Commission heard last year. It was heard by the board also last year, and with direction to staff to work on potentially amending that ZTA and also outreaching to the State Department of Housing and Community Development to see if the changes that were recommended by the Planning Commission to not allow for residential care homes to be on single-family residentially zoned properties, if that could be removed. And so we are bringing that item back for the board's consideration on June 27th. So that will be going back.
That was more about the number of residents rather than allowing it, because it's already allowed.
It's allowed at 6 and under
Right,
by
so our-
right, so it's 7 and above.
That what we had contention with.
Correct.
Okay, and you didn't settle on a number?
The 7 and above would be allowed through a minor use permit was the proposal.
Was the proposal
Correct.
going to the board?
And that is the proposal that will be going back to the board on June 27th.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, Chris?
Yes.
So that is contrary to what we recommended.
That is. It is similar to what was recommended to the board when we were at the board the last time. And the board recommended that we do some additional follow-up before coming back to the board.
So that's not coming back to us, though. That's just going directly to the board.
That is going directly to the board, correct.
And this is to meet our RENA numbers, right?
It was part of the housing elements, part of the housing, one of the housing elements programs was to adopt that ordinance.
And does the 7 and above, is the above have a cap?
It does not.
So question, thanks for bringing this up, Chris. So people listening in the public that hear you say, how will they be notified about this? Is this part of the notification process? And will they be able to attend that board meeting?
Absolutely. The notice for the board hearing will be a public notice, and they will be able to attend the board meeting and participate in that board hearing.
Okay.
So the information that we can receive on this prior to the board consists of the staff report, which we published?
Correct.
Okay.
Moving on to a couple of planning commission updates. So on June 8th would be our next regularly scheduled planning commission meeting. That meeting will be canceled, so the next meeting is going to be canceled June 8th. So your next meeting will be June 22nd. I also wanted to mention to all of you that you received an email asking about availability for an August 10th meeting in Tahoe to hear the Tahoe Basin Area Plan Amendment item. We are tentatively scheduled for that date at the North Tahoe Event Center, again, August 10th, for the TBAP amendment package. And that concludes my report. Happy to answer additional questions that you might have.
Maybe one more. Are we going to have a meeting next in 2 weeks?
No,
So
that meeting
was-
will be
yeah,
canceled.
okay.
Okay, looks like that's it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, at this time, I'll open up the meeting to anybody that wishes to make a comment on anything other than what's on the agenda today. And so we'll start with the people in the room. See no hands. Anybody virtually? Okay. Okay, so no public comment on items that are not on the agenda today. Okay, so, okay, at this time, I'd like to open up the consent items. And so I would ask the commissioners, is there anybody that would like to draw something off the consent calendar? Okay, members of the public? We have one. Anybody virtually? Okay, the item A. Okay. Okay, so we'll pull item A off the consent agenda and hear it, but beyond that, is there anybody who's willing to make a motion on item B?
Chairman Johnson, I'd like to make a motion that we approve consent agenda item B.
Okay, second,
Second.
roll call?
I have a first for Commissioner Herzog, a second by Commissioner DiMattei. Commissioner DiMattei,
Yes.
Commissioner Dahlgren,
Yes.
Commissioner Herzog,
Yes.
Commissioner Powers, Commissioner Watts, Commissioner Woodward,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And so, let me see, we have Alex here. And this project has been on the, has been approved actually in 2007.
Correct.
And we're looking at a potential third extension, which would be an extension for 2 years, and that would be the final one that's offered. So at any rate, we do have one member of the public that wants to talk, and I think we would like to hear a status report on the project.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Good morning, Commissioners. I'm Alex Fish with the Planning Services Division. As was noted, the request before you is an extension of time for the Briar Meadows 2 tentative subdivision map and variance. The project is located in North Auburn on the south side of New Airport Road, just about a half a mile or so south of the intersection of Bell Road and New Airport, a little bit northeast of Highway 49 and New Airport Road. The zoning for the site is residential single-family, combining minimum building site of 10,000 square feet, combining aircraft overflight. That's the coding that you see here, and you can see that the existing surrounding zoning matches. We have some other zonings in the area. This would be either commercial or industrial, open space, and then some mixed-use commercial here along the Highway 49 corridor. What you see here on the screen is the approved tentative map. Sorry for the fuzziness, but as the chairman mentioned, this approval dates to 2007, so this is a snap of a scan, so it's not as crisp as it could be, but this is I have it listed here as 36 residential lots, but it's actually a total of 37 residential lots on a 14-acre project site. There is a home that has existed since, I believe, the 1950s. That's on the 37th lot, but for the purposes of our discussion earlier, we're focused on the 36 lots that make up this new subdivision. Those lots range in size from, yes, sir.
Sorry to interrupt, Alex. Can you just make a comment about the line at the bottom so people online aren't confused?
I certainly can. Notice
Thanks.
that this should say that this is for the Briar Meadows 2 tentative subdivision map extension and variance, so clearly that didn't get fixed there. Apologies. Thank you very much for pointing that out. As I was saying, so in 2007, as the chair mentioned, the project was approved, tentative subdivision map, 36 lots ranging in size from 10,000 to 15,000 square feet. Improvements for the subdivision include off-site road widening along the project frontage for New Airport Road, including sidewalk, frontage landscaping, and fencing. Also on-site subdivision roads, drainage improvements, sidewalks, and utility infrastructure. Those improvements are in and are substantially complete. We have also received submittal of a final map, the final map being the instrument of record that will create the lots, and that has been through 3 reviews, including review of the CC&Rs. These are just kind of some example photos that I took a few days ago showing the frontage along New Airport Road. So we're on this one at the East Project entry looking westerly up New Airport Road. and then similarly at the west project entry looking east down New Airport Road. On-site improvements, as I said, are installed. There are, I think, about 3 or maybe up to 5 streetlights. You can see one of them here and one of them here in this picture, and these are the on-site road improvements, drainage, and sidewalks. So before we get to the recommendation, I did want to mention we had a couple of pieces of public correspondence. One was written, that was included in your packet. The commenter noted that there were some concerns pertaining to a portion of the fence up front here that is perhaps blown down. I did see that it was missing. Also concerns about dumping and things like that are happening on this site. This project has gone through some, it began construction actually initially in about 2009, was caught up in the severe economic downturn, and then changed ownership several years back, and the current owner carried forward the subdivision improvements. That owner is joining us through the, virtually, because they're not in the country right now, online, and is available to answer questions. But that ownership, they have been seeking a partner builder to carry out the construction of homes on the site. There was a prior partner builder that was part of that effort a couple of years ago. But the deal ultimately did not achieve, fruition. It did not go through all the way. But I did speak with an adjoining owner who was concerned about the length of time that the subdivision has been constructing, and some concerns about how long it would take to get the rest of the improvements complete and homes constructed, as well as concerns about weed abatement, fire suppression. And so I have talked to the property owner. Oleg Vigdorchuk is the representative for New Airport Road. I should mention that he goes by Alex, about those concerns, and he did convey to me that they are planning to be out there in June to take care of weed abatement and clean up anything that's been dumped. I did see there was a mattress at one point in the back of the site there. Beyond that, I do know that there's another gentleman here today that I spoke to just prior to the meeting that has some other concerns about road improvement, the condition of road improvements along the project frontage, and so I think he will have something to offer for you. But with that, we are in a spot here where this project has substantially completed the project improvements. They are on the doorstep of completing this project. They are requesting their third and final extension of time so that they may achieve the final map status, record that map, and then carry out the remaining development of the 36 residences that will be constructed on the site. Your Planning Commission did approve a mitigated negative declaration for this project in 2007, or did adopt a mitigated negative declaration. That document is attached to your staff report and has been deemed to remain adequate by staff for this action. So with that, staff is recommending that the Planning Commission approve this third and final 2-year extension of time request for the Briar Meadows 2 tentative subdivision map and variance in reliance on that previously adopted mitigated negative declaration and subject to the modified conditions of approval in staff's report. If you have questions for me, I'd be happy to answer those. I also have the property owner on the line joining us.
Any questions? Okay, well, thank you, Alex.
Okay,
Okay,
thank you.
the property owner is virtually with us today.
Judy? His name is Alex, or it may show up as Oleg. Mm-hmm. Excellent.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll just open it up to the property owner or the applicant.
Hello, Oleg, you're free to speak now.
Yes, hi. This is Oleg Vigdorchuk. I'm the general manager of New Airport Road. What Alex Fish outlined is exactly correct. I mean, because of some PG&E issues and some legal issues, project has been delayed. But the expectation is that it will be completed literally this summer. So I just need an extension. Apparently, be your extension no matter what. just to finish up, like Alex said, we submitted a third and pretty much completed revision of the third revision of the final map, which has been reviewed and approved. There's some monumentation that needs to be done, and there's there's one electrical panel that's been ordered, that's on back order, primarily because it's coming from China. China was in a lockdown. So the expectation is that the project will be the final map should be recording this fall. We just couldn't get it done by June because of the rain. But we couldn't clean up things because it rained so much. The water control board, the one that's driving on the dirt, because we would destroy the weeds or the growth that prevents the dirt from blowing around. So that's the way I have to wait. Happy to take questions.
Any questions? Okay, well, thank you. Okay, at this time, what I'll do is open it up for public comment. And I think we may have one card or maybe. Okay, yeah, so you can come forward. It's Jerry.
Good morning. My name's Jerry Haverkamp. I'm a resident on New Airport Road, have lived there 40 plus years. I support the subdivision itself, but I do have some major concerns on what has transpired in this previously. This last go around, they did some changes to the frontage road on New Airport where they removed the lines, signage. There's, it's been, ever since this project's been going, New Airport has had holes, potholes, something on the road. We need to get that addressed and make it safe. They've removed the lines. Traffic is now driving too far over. And what they're doing is when they get to the end of the project there, they're hitting the telephone pole on our property or at our property. So it is a safety concern. If the board allows this to go forward, I would ask, for the residents on New Airport that we get at least the traffic lines back in the road to mitigate that safety hazard that's out there. The pole was just hit last night. They hauled 2 people to the hospital. We're just like to get our portion of our road to where it's safe and, and not drag it out to where the repairs are going to be 2 years down the road. They have trench plates in the middle of the road. It's been there for a year. That all needs to be cleaned up, and not, we don't want to look forward to 2 more years of letting it drag out.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you for your comment. And is there anybody else that wants to make a public comment? Okay, we'll bring it back to the commission, and I guess I would have a question. We have somebody from engineering here. Okay, if you have any comments or anything that you can add to what was just said, that would be good.
Personally, I have nothing to add. They were required to construct the frontage improvements on New Airport Road, the 50-foot wide half section. As far as the phasing of those improvements and getting it striped out, that does really fall on us.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, if I might add, I'm sorry I didn't catch Shulman's last name, but Jerry, He and I spoke before the meeting, and I committed to him that no matter what happens here today, that I'm going to follow up with our construction inspection staff and the property owner to discuss the missing fog line, which, by the way, I'll show you because he explained it to me. I think this would be the best way to describe it. The pole that he's talking about, it's out of the picture here. It's probably this pole right here, but there is a curve up in the road there, and apparently the fog line is missing up in that area. And so there is a problem where folks may not be aware that they have reached the edge of the road where that curve is, and are, if they're distracted or something, all the more opportunity for them to run off and potentially strike that pole or even something else. So I'm going to talk to them about that. I'm not aware of the trench plate, but I wanted to speak to him after the meeting to get a better understanding of where that is, and again, talk to our DPW construction inspection staff to see what we can do to get that addressed immediately, and also with the property owner.
Okay, well, thank you.
You bet.
Okay, anything else from the commission?
Yeah, what's your first and last name, sir?
Oh, my first name is Jerry, R-R-Y, last
And I'd like to say thank you to Alex for good planning and making sure that when people speak, we get back to them. I just really appreciate that. Understand the safety concern, and thanks for bringing that to our attention. It's really important to us, so thank you, Alex.
Yeah, thank you. Anything else? Okay, well, this is item A in the consent agenda, and if somebody would like to make a motion, that would be a good time.
Sir, I'll make a motion. Staff recommends, it's not written as a motion, but recommend that the Planning Commission approve this third and final extension of time request for the Briar Meadows Estate 2 tentative subdivision map and variance PSUB 200700437 in reliance on the previously adopted mitigated negative declaration and subject to the modified conditions of approval and findings in the staff report.
Second.
Okay,
Oh, sorry.
roll call?
Yes, I have a first for Commissioner Woodward, a second for Commissioner DiMattei.
Yes.
Commissioner DiMattei,
Yes.
Commissioner Dahlgren,
Yes.
Commissioner Herzog,
Yes.
Commissioner Powers, Commissioner Watts, Commissioner Woodward,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson.
Yes?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, well, at this time, we'll move on to our timed items.
Chair, if we could you also read the appeal language into the record?
Oh, excuse me? Oh,
Could we also read the appeal
Yeah.
language into the record, please? Thank you.
okay, so this decision is subject to appeal, both decisions, actually. And by anybody that was here today or has submitted comments. And the fee is $688, and I believe it's 10 days is the time limit. Okay, thank you. Okay, now we'll begin our first time item. And this one is dealing with the Placer Commerce Center, large lot parcel map. And it's previously approved addendum to the previously certified environmental impact report. And we're in Supervisor District 2. And so now members of the public can raise your hands or get ready with by pressing number 9 if you want to call in. Otherwise, we will go to anybody in the public that's present today first. So with that, go ahead with presentation from staff.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and the Commissioners. Jared Peters for the the Planning Services Division. I'm going to be presenting the Placer Commerce Center Large Lot Tentative Map Parcel Map Project proposed by Buzz Oats Construction. The 393.7 acre project site is located north of the city of Roseville at the terminus of Foothills Boulevard North, south of Athens Avenue, and north of the future alignment of Placer Parkway. The site consists of 3 parcels, 75.09 acres, 153.8 acres, and 163.7 acres. The project site is currently undeveloped and has been used for cattle grazing in the past. The site is designated Innovation Center and Entertainment Mixed Use in the Sunset Area Plan. The site has split zoning consisting of Innovation Center Special Purpose and Entertainment Mixed Use Special Purpose. On December 13th, 2022, the Board of Supervisors approved the Placer Commerce Center project to include up to 6.4 million square feet of flexible industrial space. The proposed large lot tentative parcel map would not expand upon the previous approval area. The project site would be split into 4 phases, optimizing the build-out to meet current and future market demands. For that reason, flexibility has been built into the project entitlements to allow for modification of the site plan, parcel size, building sizes to meet tenant demand. The proposed large lot parcel map is for financing and phasing purposes and carries no development rights. This allows the developer the ability to process small lot final maps in an orderly fashion where one small map does not depend on another. This provides flexibility in the order in which they sell the sites and develop buildings within the project. The large lot map will be made up of 5 parcels ranging in size from 23.5 acres to 125 acres. Parcel 4 on the eastern portion of the site has been split into parcels 4 and 5. There is also 18.7 acres that will be future right-of-way along the project frontages and the future Placer Parkway corridor on the south. An environmental review was prepared for the Sunset Area Plan and Placer Ranch Specific Plan and certified on December 10th, 2019. Placer County, as the lead agency, determined that the Placer Commerce Center proposal required that the preparation of an addendum to the EIR due to the requested Sunset Area Plan amendments. The large lot parcel map is being undertaken pursuant to and in conformity with the approved Placer Commerce Center project and conforms to the Placer Commerce Center phased vesting subdivision tentative map, conditional use permit, and associated conditions of approval. No changes in the project have occurred that would necessitate the preparation of a subsequent environmental review. Staff recommends the Planning Commission take the following actions. Determine the potential impact of the proposed Placer Commerce Center large lot tentative parcel map, which is part of the Placer Commerce Center project, are within the scope of analysis of the 2019 Sunset Area Plan, Placer Ranch Specific Plan Environmental Impact Report, and the subsequent 2022 addendum prepared for and adopted for the Placer Commerce Center project, subject to the findings found in the staff report packet. And approval of the Placer Commerce Center large lot tentative parcel map, and the conditions of approval to create 5 large lots with no development rights and 3 lots for right-of-way dedication on the 393.7 acre Placer Commerce Center project site, subject to the findings and proposed conditions of approval found in the staff report packet, attachment C. I'm available if you have any questions. Thank you.
Questions? Okay. Looks like we have none at this point. We may have some later. Thank you very much. Is the applicant present?
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Sheridan Evans with Buzz Oats. I just wanted to say thank you all, and also thank you to the Placer County staff for getting this project to this point. Thank you.
Okay. I do have a question. Let me see. Have you read and are in agreement with the conditions of approval?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. And any of the commissioners communicate with you in advance?
No, not that I know of, no.
Okay.
I will add the conditions of approval reflect the conditions that were approved prior at the December 13th as far as the map goes.
Okay. Okay, very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, at this time, I'll open it up for public comment, and each commenter will have 3 minutes to talk. So, is anybody here who wants to comment? Okay, seeing none. Anybody online?
No, there's nobody online.
What?
No, there isn't.
Nobody? Okay, well, we'll bring it back to the commission. And any further questions of staff?
Mr. Chair, I'm ready to make the recommendations.
Okay,
And this is what we want to be read, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Nice job, Mr. Peters. I'll make a recommendation to determine the potential impacts of the proposed Placer Commerce Center large lot tentative parcel map, which is part of the Placer Commerce Center project, are within the scope of the analysis of the 2019 Sunset Area Plan, Placer Ranch Specific Plan, Environmental Impact Report, and the subsequent 2022 addendum prepared for and adopted for the Placer Commerce Center project, subject to the findings found in the staff report packet.
Second. Commissioner Herzog.
we have a motion and a second. Roll call?
I have a first for Commissioner Powers, a second for Commissioner Herzog. Commissioner DiMattei,
Yes.
Commissioner Dahlgren,
Yes.
Commissioner Herzog,
Yes.
Commissioner Powers,
Aye.
Commissioner Watts,
Aye.
Commissioner Woodward,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
And I'd further like to make a recommendation to approve the Placer Commerce Center large lot tentative parcel map and the conditions of approval to create 5 large lots with no development rights on the 393.7 acre Placer Commerce Center project site, subject to the findings and proposed conditions of the approval found in the staff report packet attachment C.
Second.
Okay, we have a first and a second. Roll call?
I have a first for Commissioner Powers. Was that a second from Commissioner Herzog? Was
Yes,
that-
yes.
Okay. I have a second from Commissioner Herzog. Commissioner DiMattei,
Yes.
Commissioner Dahlgren,
Yes.
Commissioner Herzog,
Yes.
Commissioner Powers,
Aye.
Commissioner Watts,
Aye.
Commissioner Woodward,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, and this decision is final with the commission, so if anybody wishes to appeal it, $688 and 10 days, and if it's somebody that, well, nobody attended today, but if somebody had commented previously, then that would be available to them. And so with that, we'll move on to, let me see, we're okay. So we have a DNA wine lounge proposal for a conditional use permit in the Granite Bay area. And so, you're welcome to go ahead.
Good morning, Chair and members of the Commission. I'm Nick Chafuro with the Planning Services Division. The item I have before you today is the DNA Wine Lounge Conditional Use Permit Modification and Design Site Review Agreement. So the project site is located in Suite 100 in the Tree Lake Village Commercial Center at 9719 Village Center Drive in Granite Bay. The commercial center is developed with 4 buildings, including an office building you could see on the west side of Village Center Drive. And then there's 3 commercial buildings between Village Center Drive and Brackenbury Way, where the suite is located. The standalone office building to the west includes its own parking area, separate from the larger parking lot that serves the 3 other buildings. The project area borders East Roseville Parkway to the north, Brackenbury Way to the east, and Villa Florence Lane to the south. So the property is zoned commercial plan development, combining design scenic corridor. And just to give you a background, the Tree Lake Village Commercial Center was constructed in 2004, includes 41,000 square feet of commercial office space uses. The conditional use permit, CUP 1862, was originally approved for the project back in 1995 and allows for commercial and office uses only. Historically, there's been no bar or sit-down restaurant uses that have operated on site. The existing commercial uses include a fitness center, a jiu-jitsu training facility, acupuncture services, and a day spa. So the project includes a CUP modification and design review agreement to allow proposed wine bar and retail wine shop use to occupy a former 2,064 square foot of vacant office space. Note that staff made a determination early on in the project process that the CUP modification would be necessary based on a change in the former office use to wine bar and retail wine shop use. So the project would include indoor seating and an outdoor seating area. Would also share parking with the other users in the 101 space parking lot. Hours of operation would be from Wednesday through Saturday from 12 to 9 p.m. and Sundays from 12 to 4 p.m. Tenant improvements include a service bar and guest seating, wine storage and small no-flame food preparation area, and no exterior building improvements are proposed. The site improvements are limited to new patio tables and decorative fencing to enclose the patio area. These improvements are described in the design review agreement that's included as an attachment to your staff report. So here's the, excuse me, here's the proposed site plan showing the location of Suite 100 there, and of course the existing parking lot. And this is the proposed floor plan. You can see the tenant improvements that are shaded here in gray, the seating areas, and then the patio area would be over here on this side. And the project photos here on top show you the vacant space right now, and then of course the outdoor patio area. And then on the bottom you could see the access, the existing access and parking lot. So the project was presented to the Granite Bay MAC as an action item on April 6th. At that meeting, the MAC indicated the proposed use, the thought was that the proposed use could actually potentially enliven the existing commercial center and ultimately benefit the local community. At that meeting, the MAC unanimously approved a motion to recommend that the Planning Commission take action to approve the project as it was presented by a vote 5-0 with 2 being absent. The Tree Lake HOA's Architectural Review Committee provided an approval letter in January of this year, which is included as an attachment to your staff report. Following receipt of that letter, the HOA president did express some concerns on the wine bar and how it would transition, how it could possibly transition to a bar without public input. Staff also received comments from 2 homeowners in the subdivision expressing a similar concern and also questioning the potential noise that may occur. To address those concerns, we modified the first condition to indicate that if the use did change to a restaurant or bar concept through either a change in the ABC license to allow for distilled spirits or an increase in use beyond a small no-flame food preparation area, that a prior review and approval by the Planning Commission would be required. Also to address noise, additional conditions were included to ensure the use of the outdoor patio would in no case occur past 9 p.m. and that there would be no outdoor amplified music allowed. In addition, we did receive a letter of support representing 3 neighboring residents. So with that, staff recommends the Planning Commission take the following actions based on the findings contained in the staff report and subject to the proposed conditions of approval. The first action being find that this project is categorically exempt from the environmental review pursuant to provisions of sections 15301, 302, and 303 of the CEQA guidelines and sections 18.36, 030, 040, and 050 of the Placer County Environmental Review Ordinance. As the conversion of the existing 2,064 square feet tenant space from the office use to a wine bar and retail wine shop does not have the potential to result in adverse environmental impacts. The second action is to approve the conditional use permit modification to allow for the operation of a wine bar and retail wine shop within a 2,064 square foot portion of the Tree Lake Village Shopping Center. And lastly, to approve the design site review agreement included as attachment D to the staff report. So with that, we'll be able to answer any questions.
Questions?
I
I will say at this point too, if any of the commissioners have had contact with the applicant or anybody else in the community, go ahead and say that too.
I went ahead and visited the site and had contact with the applicant to see about the project.
Well, I received a copy of an email. That's the only contact I've had, but I also had a question I wanted to ask.
Okay,
That's appropriate.
well, who wants to be first? I guess Nathan was the first one to come.
I'm just curious about the no flame food. What's your interpretation of that? What does that mean? What type of food? I mean, because you can cook really any food without a flame, but I'm wondering what category that creates. Does that determine what type of kitchen it is? Help me understand the no flame food designation.
It's serving cold plates, and actually the applicants here might be able to explain in a little bit more detail, if you don't mind.
Well, we can wait. We can wait for that.
Okay.
Till they come up.
Sure.
Nick, could you go back to slide 20 for me, please? And I did correspond with Nick, also visited the site and have spoken with the applicant. Slide 20.
Oh, sorry.
So I just wanted to get clarification on access to the day spa, location of the day spa, and access to the day spa with regards to the fact that we're going to fence in the patio area. And the reason I'm bringing this up is actually that the applicant, when I was at the site visit, discussed this as well with me. So can you clarify how that process works? I recognize there's other ways to access the day spa, but for individuals coming from the, I guess it would be the north or the northwest along that route, they would be actually, they would have to go around the fencing. Is that true?
Yeah, so I could show you, actually I'll go back to this slide. So the fencing would be the small dotted line you could see here. There's steps right here on this side, and then it goes around before the planters, and then it closes up right here. So basically, it's only enclosing the space where the entrance and exits for the actual building, for the space for the wine bar. So it's not affecting, the day spa is actually on this side. And I'll show in another photo, there's a separate sidewalk that's around this area. I could get to that. So you could see a little bit here, but basically the fencing would go along this area and then curve back up. Let me get to I do have a photo of the sidewalk too, I could show you. So on the bottom of this photo, you could see there's a separate sidewalk that goes all alongside the frontage. So that would be the way they would access. And then they would actually be able to, if you're walking from this side, you could walk around the planters and then get through this way too as well.
Okay, so have we coordinated with the day spa owner? What I'm trying to get at is we won't have any conflicts between the applicant and the day spa owner. Is that true in your view?
I don't see any issues, with access for the day spa based on the way the enclosure is going to be, since there's an opportunity to access
Go
from
around
the other, go around basically, right?
Okay.
Hey, Mark?
It's okay, it's not important.
Okay, well, Nick, thank you.
Sure, thank you.
Is the applicant here?
At the Village Center in Granite Bay. Just a little bit about me. I'm a 22-year veteran of the wholesale wine industry, and having a wine bar is something my wife and I have been dreaming about for a long time. And this last year just gave us the opportunity to move forward with this plan and this dream. we look forward to becoming part of the Granite Bay and East Roseville community and responsibly serving that community at the same time offering our patrons something new and interesting from the world of wine. And as Nick mentioned, the DNA Lounge, Wine Lounge will be a hybrid wine bar and retail space. Small plates to be served. And it's just a place to bring people together. And in addition, we will also have a number of non-alcoholic beverages as well for people that want to come in and if they want to hang out and not have to drink alcohol, that is an option. But we look forward to serving the opportunity, or we look forward to the opportunity of serving the community.
Okay. Any questions at this point?
Well, if you don't mind helping me understand the no flame food.
Yeah, the no flame's kind of an industry term. It's really a kitchen that doesn't have a stove, doesn't have a hood, doesn't have all the fire suppression apparatus that works around having a live flame in a kitchen. We will probably have a convection oven, to warm things up, or cook breads, things like that. But it's going to be mostly cheese plates, charcuterie, salads, maybe some sandwiches, light, easy tapas style fare that won't involve a whole lot of cooking, other than maybe warming things up and stuff like that.
Thanks.
Okay.
Any more questions? Okay, well, I have a question for you at this time.
Okay.
You've read and are in agreement with the conditions of approval?
I am.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Okay, at this time, I'll open up to public comment. And don't know if anybody has filled out a comment card or not. Doesn't look like we have everybody standing up. How about online?
We have nobody online.
Nobody online? Okay, with that, I'll bring it back to the commission, and if you have any further questions from staff, this would be a time, or the applicant. Okay, a silent group here. And so if you'd like to make a motion, you're sure welcome to do it.
I'll make a motion. I move that we find that this project is categorically exempt from environmental review pursuant to provisions of section 15301, 15302, and 15303 of the California Environmental Quality Act guidelines, and sections 18.36.030, 1836.040, and 18.36.050 of the Placer County Environmental Review Ordinance. Class 1 existing facilities, Class 2 replacement or reconstruction, and Class 3 new construction or conversion of small structures. As the conversion of the existing 2,064 square feet tenant space from office use to a wine bar and retail wine shop does not have the potential to result in adverse environmental impacts.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call?
Yes, I have a first, Commissioner Woodward, a second, Commissioner DiMattei. Commissioner DiMattei?
Yes.
Commissioner Dahlgren?
Yes.
Commissioner Herzog?
Yes.
Commissioner Powers? Commissioner Watts? Commissioner Woodward?
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Thank you.
I further move that we approve the conditional use permit modification to allow for the operation of a wine bar and retail wine shop within a 2,064 square foot portion of the Tree Lake Village Shopping Center.
And
Second.
it's not noted on here, but this recommendation is also subject to the conditions of approval.
Okay, as subject to the conditions of approval.
Second.
Do we have a motion and a second? Roll call?
I have a first for Commissioner Woodward, a second for Commissioner DiMattei. Commissioner DiMattei?
Yes.
Commissioner Dahlgren?
Yes.
Commissioner Herzog?
Yes.
Commissioner Powers? Commissioner Watts?
Aye.
Commissioner Woodward?
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Thank you.
Further move that we approve the design site review agreement included as attachment D to the staff report.
Second.
Motion and a second. Roll call?
Commissioner Woodward, I have a first. Commissioner DiMattei, a second. Commissioner DiMattei?
Yes.
Commissioner Dahlgren?
Yes.
Commissioner Herzog?
Yes.
Commissioner Powers? Commissioner Watts?
Aye.
Commissioner Woodward?
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, and with that, this one is also a final commission decision, so it is appealable to the Board of Supervisors. And you have 10 days, anybody that has commented or participated in the process. And it's $688. So with that, unless somebody's got some more information.
Not on this, I have a question for the planning.
Okay.
Adjourn the meeting.
All right.
I was hoping that you would bring back the ZTA for the residential care homes to us on June 22nd as an issue before you take it to the supervisors on June 27th. Because as I recall, you were going to go back to HCD and talk to them about the law and the changes and the requirements and what other counties were doing. We specifically asked, what are other counties doing in this area? So I know you've done some homework, but it's going back to the Board of Supervisors. I would like us to look at it, to make our recommendations so the Board of Supervisors know our thoughts and our vote on the issue before it goes back to them. I feel like we've missed a step. We made a recommendation, it went to the board, they had some questions, you all did some homework and some research on it, it's going back to the board. I think it should come back to us on the 22nd and then go to them on the 27th.
I fully support that. I gotta say, we just did a conditional use permit here. A conditional use permit for something that's gonna affect a small portion of a community in Granite Bay. And you are now recommending that the Board of Supervisors approve 7+ on every, basically by right across the entire county using an MUP. When I was told specifically, by the way, by a representative at HCD that a CUP would be acceptable. So I agree 100%. I owe this to my supervisor.
Just to add, Commissioner Herzog here, I agree, maybe for different reasons. I think the public should have another opportunity to engage in the process. And so I'd like to hear and maybe even address some public concern regarding the zoning text amendment, which I think is significant. And so I also hope that we could have a session here for the public.
I would agree with that. I would like to hear more about it as well for the public's knowledge and my own, because I am now have a ton of questions, which probably are not relevant for today, but would like to see that happen.
Yeah. So a couple of thoughts on this. The first is certainly it is up to the chair and this commission as to what items are heard by this commission. Once you have an item that comes before your commission and you provide a recommendation to it, if this is one of those items that's supposed to then move to the board, then at that moment it does divest the planning commission of control of that item. So this has gone to the board and the board has asked for continuance of the item to bring back certain things. So in terms of a formal recommendation, now this is in the board's hand to decide what to do with it. But your commission certainly can, and the chair can put an item on to discuss and contemplate this, but the formal recommendation has already been provided by this commission, and now the item is formally with the board to make a decision upon it.
But the recommendation that is going to the Board of Supervisors is 7+ recommended by the staff. That was not our recommendation. So something happened between our recommendation when it went to the Board of Supervisors for the continuance, and now the recommendation that's going from staff to the Board of Supervisors is not ours. I understand that we left it, it's done, it's gone, but that doesn't mean we can't bring it back if we choose to bring it back.
The recommendation that was before the board was for was for it to be a minor use permit. It acknowledged when it went to the board that it was contrary to what the Planning Commission's recommendation was. So that was already acknowledged when it went to the board. The board has, as Clayton mentioned, the board did provide direction to staff to go back and do additional work and outreach to HCD and then bring the item back before the board. And so that is what staff is intending to do, is to go back before the board. We can certainly look at potentially bringing, for informational purposes, back to the Planning Commission for information about what staff is learned through the conversations with HCD and why we're bringing it back, but it will be up to the board to decide what to do with that.
I understood, and I agree with Commissioner Herzog as well, that we need another opportunity for the public to talk about it, and I'd like to hear what you all learned from HCD and why the recommendation is for 7+, and it's the plus part that's the challenge. 7+35, 7+50 residential neighborhoods. So I think this is an opportunity. So can we have it back on the 22nd? Even if it's an informational item, I guess I have to ask the chair.
Okay, I guess as long as we're clearly in understanding that it's an informational item.
Yeah, I can be more specific too, Commissioner Johnson, Chairman Johnson. You guys had new findings that are now, the staff has findings that is making this recommendation. I'd like those findings to be presented to us so that we can understand the findings that justify the recommendation from staff to the Board of Supervisors.
Okay, and I guess the other key thing that you're talking about is it gives the public another chance to hear.
I would appreciate that.
I agree.
I agree.
Okay, yeah, so, but we won't be voting on it.
All right?
No, that's
Okay.
fine. Hey, Rich, I'm sorry, go ahead, Anthony.
Done.
I just wanted to ask a question, Chris.
I'm surprised that in some ways I'm glad, but I'm also concerned in some ways as well, that when we make a recommendation to the board, that the county staff then takes that recommendation and says, we don't concur, but does not come back and tell us that you're not concurring, and then recommends something entirely different using an MUP as the key thing here. And by the way, I would like to talk to you about the definition of an MUP versus a CUP here, because I've looked at them, and I don't get it at all on what your recommendation was. But you take a recommendation that we make and you reverse it, and then you just tell the board. And by the way, that's contrary, I think, as a matter of public record, contrary to something that your predecessor told me in this forum, that you would not ever do that. That if we make a recommendation to the board, that recommendation carries. So you're telling us that you reversed a recommendation and you changed that recommendation as it went to the board.
Well, again, these meetings, the meeting where you heard the item and where it went to the board predates me. And so I'd maybe lean on Mr. Cook here to provide some history as
Sure.
to what.
Happy to speak on that. And I was actually looking to pull up the board item. I believe after the planning commission recommendation, when this item was taken to the board, your planning commission recommendation was taken by the staff as the recommendation.
Okay.
In that meeting, then the board decided to continue the item to look into the issue specifically to get feedback from HCD whether or not this would impact the housing element and also HCD's approval of that housing element. And that's what started this discussion in terms of then what are next steps, and it included reach out. And now, based on that discussion with HCD, staff is coming back to the board saying, look, we've talked to HCD and here's what we know, and this is our recommendation based on having talked with HCD.
Okay.
And that's
So-
what we missed. We missed because we asked, what is HCD's position on this? And you all were gonna find out. That was I followed this as it's gone through the process. So you're correct in exactly what happened. But we asked for that information to come back to us. And even if it's just as an issue item, that's fine.
Sure.
Because we can go and present before the planning commission on this item and let them know what our thoughts are. The board of supervisors. And let them know, as citizens, what our positions are.
Yeah, and as Clayton was speaking, I kind of got the head nod over there from Mr. Alex Fish, who worked on it, who concurred, and so I did misspeak in terms of the recommendation that was brought forward, so I apologize about that.
So let's hear if the chair's cool with this on the 22nd of June as an issue item, and then the 27th it goes to the Board of Supervisors, and we can attend that Board of Supervisors meeting to reiterate our position.
Absolutely.
Okay, I guess one of the reservations that I always felt is, as a planning commissioner, we have the opportunity to make a decision at the planning commission, and that gets forward to the Board of Supervisors. And so, as a planning commissioner, I've always been reluctant to go before the board with my own personal opinion. So, you know, I don't, you can do it.
Yeah, I'm not reluctant.
But I think my recommendation would be if you feel real strongly about it, you can talk to your individual supervisor or
Sure.
other supervisors and let them know what your feelings are.
Sure.
But I would be reluctant to identify myself at the Board of Supervisors as a planning commissioner because we've already had our crack at it.
Sure.
Okay,
So
that's just my personal opinion.
just to touch on that last point, if you do go in front of the board, you can only speak on behalf of the commission with express approval of the commission. You can't identify yourself as a planning commissioner,
No, just as a
but
citizen who volunteers at
Right,
these
and you
residential
can
care homes in the community. I have a lot of information and knowledge about them because I've been doing it for years.
you can certainly, yes, you can certainly do that. But if you wish to speak on behalf of the commission, it has to be done through a formal action of this commission beforehand.
I would not do that.
Okay, so we'll look forward to hearing some information, and we won't be making a decision at that meeting. Okay, thank you. Okay, with that, we're ready?
I don't
Or you
believe
didn't
we
read the speak-
read into the record the appeal rights for the DNA
What's that?
wine lounge.
I thought he did.
Did he? Okay.
He did.
All right, my fault.
Appeal rates.
Oh,
You did.
yeah, I did it. Remembered that time. Okay, with that, I'll close the meeting. Thank you.